the way to the future. And now the next speaker also is an alumnus of this very reputed institution. So I will be now requesting Elfidar Iltebir to come onto the stage. Elfidar, while I introduce you. So she is an alumnus of the George Mason University, has done a BA in marketing from here. She was born in Urumchi, East Turkistan, and grew up in Istanbul until coming to the US in 2000. She has over 20 years of marketing and project management experience. She has taught the Uyghur language to US government employees. As the daughter of a prominent Uyghur writer and journalist, she is an active member of the community and an outspoken human rights activist. Congratulations. In the last 3 years, she has served as Secretary General of the UAA. I'll leave it to her to elaborate on the UAA, but I guess it's the Uyghur American Association. With her excellent performance for the community and creative approaches to raise awareness projects, she was elected as the president of the UAA in May of 2022. She is also currently serving as a structure analyst in an energy firm and is fluent in English, Uyghur and Turkish. Over to you.
There's going to be a question and answer session after the panel. So if anybody wants a question card and a pencil, just raise your hand. Thank you.
May I sit and just do it?
Sure.
Yeah, so please keep your intervention to less than 20 minutes because we are running late. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. As I was introduced, I'm Elfidar Iltebir, current president of the Uyghur Association. It's a community-based organization established in 1998. Pure goal was to preserve our language and culture, but since the genocide has started, we shift our focus to more raising awareness and stopping the genocide. First, I would like to thank the International Commission for Human Rights and Religious Freedom for giving us the opportunity to talk about the Uyghur genocide. So who are Uyghurs? I would like to first go through what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the Uyghurs, their history, and then why China is committing the Uyghur genocide, and also the lives of Uyghurs inside the camps and outside the camps, and we'll talk about the concentration camps, the impacts of this genocide on women and children, and at the end I will talk about the actions taken so far and then what else we can do. So Uyghurs are the Turkic and Muslim-rooted people native to East Turkestan that lived more than 2,000 years of rich culture. Because we are a speaker, I want to be more academic. I said 2,000, but there are 4,000 years old mummies found that are found to be Uyghurs in Central Asia. Uyghur kingdoms lasted with the Uyghur name because before that we were Huns. Like, I'm giving more historical background after hearing Carmela's presentation. After Huns, the Gökturks, and then Uyghur kingdoms. It's from 744 to 1367, and then recent history, the Manchus invaded our land in 1876, and that's when they changed and called our land Xinjiang, which means new territory, the added territory. And then we had our independent countries, the Republic from 1993, and then again 1944, and then lastly we were occupied and invaded by Chinese Communist Party in 1949. So we have independent states in the history. Uyghurs were the cradle of many civilizations, the culture, literature in the past. However, once China occupied, first they came as a friend, like they're gonna help us build bridges and roads. And unfortunately, we were too naive. We welcomed them, and slowly they were taking our lands, properties, our rights, killing the livelihood of Uyghurs, and then with the recent history, the assimilation, discrimination, and with the population migration from Han Chinese land to our land, we become minority on our own land. So that is the history. As you see some of the photos here about our beautiful East Turkistan, it's very nice and rich culture. That's the Urumchi city on the corner, the city I was born. This is the traditional architecture of Uyghur houses and the way we dress. And used to be very happy, positive people, very friendly. So why China is committing a genocide now? It used to be assimilation, discrimination. We became second-class citizen, and then once President Xi Jinping took place, he had his own goal of eliminating Uyghurs from this land, and he wanted to accelerate this process because of his One Belt, One Road initiatives. He wanted to monetize our land just Han Chinese. That's how he started, and he wanted to speed it up. And he started to build concentration camps. I wanted to also tell other reasons. As you see in the map, China calls it Xinjiang. Our land connects China to Europe and to the world. So it's very important for China for its trade. That's how they make their money. And it was on the Silk Road. It's very important for them to have a strong control of that land. Other reasons are our land is very rich with mines and critical minerals, gold, and very rich land. Of course, China doesn't want to give that away. And also it's big, as you see, size of Alaska, and it's 1,600 kilometers square feet. So it's also a solution for China's increase in population. So many reasons that they don't want us to be independent and free, and that they want to have strong control. So oppression, before the genocide started, we were talking about the assimilation, but slowly the forced abortion started in the 1980s with the one-child policy of China. And that it was two for the minorities, but it has changed now. Also Chinese people can have more than one child. They were restricting our language in schools. We had our own schools, and then it became both Chinese and Uyghur schools, and then it became a whole Chinese school now. That started way before the concentration camps. And then restriction on Uyghur names and Turkic-rooted name like Fatima or Alparslan, kind of historic names, Muslim-rooted names are also started to be limited. Bans and religious practice was same. Separation of our root from our history, and then data collection outside and inside China before the camp started, and also forced relocation of Uyghurs, especially Uyghur girls, to inner China. That started way before. And then starting 2017, end of 16 and 17, all the Uyghurs in the diaspora abroad, we got disconnected with our loved ones, family members, and we didn't know what was going on. And then the Canadian researchers showed the satellite map of the camps and proved the world that China is building the concentration camps and arresting Uyghurs. First they came for our writers, our doctors, our artists, all the backbone of the society. And then after that they went county by county, men and women, old and young, and arresting in mass, arresting Uyghurs into the concentration camp to re-engineer them to be a Han Chinese. And as you see, this is one of the camps that was in 2015. There was nothing in Dabenji. And then in 2018, it can hold 70,000 people, and this is only one camp, and there is more than 500 camps in our land, East Turkestan. So what is going on inside the camps? We know now because of the camp survivors. We have multiple camp survivors in the US. They were able to escape because their husbands were foreign citizens. So one of them had the Egyptian, one of them had Kazakh husband, and they worked through their government and they were able to get the Uyghur wives out of the camps. Based on the right now evidence and proofs and testimonies, those camps, as you see, are barbed wired and a very strong control. People are forced to take in there for years. They stay in there. Although China denied at the beginning, saying those are educational, re-education schools, people come here voluntarily. No one wants to leave their family and come to those places. Inside the camps, as you see, it's this room. They can sleep. They sleep on that bed, let's say, and they eat on that bed. They study on that bed. Basically brainstorm all day, memorizing communist songs, slogans, and Xi Jinping's verses. Besides that, they deal with political indoctrination, torture, rape, forced labor, organ harvesting, separation from family, deprivation of identity, language, culture, religion, and there are also testing zones like a guinea pig for Chinese medicines and technological tools. Outside the camp is also not too different. There are like a surveillance state. I don't know if you can see in here, it's not very clear, but there are cameras everywhere on the streets. And it's also through the policy, the Chinese government cadre comes to the Uyghur homes and stay in the house, and that's also the human surveillance. We'll talk about it in a bit. Separation of family outside the camp, forced labor, forced transfers of Uyghurs to inner China. It's 1.6 million according to Adrian Zen's research with AP. And then also elimination of identity, language, and culture and religion. Earlier, Carmela showed the house marked with N. Most Uyghurs' house has a QR code on the wall that shows how many people live in there, and then police can just check and who's living in this house and their background and their link and the history and their relatives. Everything is so well sophisticated, organized by the government, and that's how they control. I talked about human surveillance earlier, that it is very unacceptable that 1.1 million, I believe it, we'll see, more than 1 million Han Chinese officials comes to Uyghurs' homes and stay there for months. Imagine a stranger is coming to your house and stay with you. And most of those houses, the men are taken to the concentration camp, women are alone. So government planned this under the name of pair up and they become a family program. So Han Chinese comes and they have 5 rules: eat together, cook together, sleep together, travel together, learn together. And they spend time in the house, and then they report what you're doing in your house to the government. Are you praying? Are you saying something against the government? Are you calling someone overseas? Like all of those things are reported. And this is, in this century, very unacceptable. There were many rape cases also outside the house, like in the house outside the camps. As you see in the photos, they also advertise it. It's like, oh, this is very good friendship, harmonious, but they come and share your house for months. And another thing on women is the forced sterilization and forced abortion and forced placed IUDs. And this is one way of controlling our population, one way of diluting our population. The forced marriages is also another big thing that it's very unacceptable anywhere in the world, that Uyghur women has to sacrifice themselves to marry a Han Chinese officials. Otherwise, their parents can take them to the concentration camps. So they basically sacrifice themselves. And government plans this. This is like a government state plan organized rape. They have to marry, otherwise their parents will be taken. And besides that, forced separation of family. I earlier talked about the transfer of Uyghur women, especially marriage age, to inner China for the factories to work. It looks like government is helping to find jobs, and they're transferring all Uyghurs, especially marriage age women, to inner China to control our population. So they're sterilized, they're away from their family, and they cannot teach their culture, their language, their tradition to the kids, and they're away, and or marriage age can't have the kids. This forced labor is used as a tool to continue its genocide because kids are also away from the family. And while they're transferring all those Uyghurs to inner China, they're bringing more Han Chinese into our land and diluting our population and make ourselves even more minorities and less. Forced labor is the last one, as I talked about, as a big impact on the Uyghur women. As you see on those photos, these brides are married to Han Chinese forcibly because the wedding day is the happiest day of a woman, right? As a woman, I can tell. But they cry in their videos, their families are not there sometimes, and the government give incentives, and sometimes we see ads saying, we're looking for 100 brides for our company's employees. And girls are literally sacrificing themselves in order to live. And this is also another AP research data that from 2015 to 2018, 60% of Uyghur women were sterilized and birth control and birth rates dropped. This is a huge number, and then 24% in 2019. When we were independent in 1940s, our population was around 30 million, and China is showing now it's 20 million. At that time,
we are running out of time, so
sure.
we'll have to conclude now.
Sure.
Thank you.
So this is the birth rate. I'm going to go on the impact on children. 500,000 children were sent to state-run orphanages because parents are in the camps and forced labor camps. And 900,000 children are in boarding school. So while China transferred the parents to the camps and the factories, they also take kids to the boarding schools and then stripped away their language, their culture, their religion, and raised basically as a Han Chinese. And this is President Xi's, its own Chairman Xi's own word, to break their roots, break their lineage, so we can easily assimilate them as a Han Chinese. And this is, as you see on the kids, back in the days we have our own books, own schools, and now we see children sent to boarding schools and raised as a Han Chinese. So many actions are taken so far. Both Trump and Biden administration declared this as a genocide, and after that 11 other countries, governments accepted and considered this as a genocide. The UN had a report saying this constitute crimes against humanity. And 2 historical bills passed in the US, and Canada recently passed a motion to accept 10,000 Uyghurs into their land. And what can we do? This is the conclusion. So just like this, we should organize events and universities, faith houses, and many other places in civil societies organize events to raise awareness about what's going on in China today, and support Uyghur diaspora organizations, attend to their events, support financially, support with your, by going and participating. Contact your Congress members to pass current bills on the Hill, and also pressure UN. And lastly, do not buy made in China products if possible, because you're supporting this genocide. You're making Chinese government wealthier and stronger to attack other human beings in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause. That was a very brilliant expose on what's going on in Xinjiang. Thank you for that. Appreciate that very much. Very learning, very great overview again. And what I would have a question for you later, and I can understand the situation. I've been reading a lot about it, hearing a lot about it, and listening to a lot of scholars talking about it. But while a lot of the genocides in the world in the last 100 years have been, majority of them have been by Islamic countries against their co-citizens. There have been some which are like the Cambodian genocide, which was against its own population, where I was ambassador of India to Cambodia, and I tried to understand that psychology and the reason for that genocide. But here what baffles me is that this is like the Christian crusades of earlier, which is going on, but it is not being done by a Christian country. It is not being done by an Islamic sect against another Islamic sect. But it is being done by a communist country, and they're using similar templates to what the Islamic countries use, and sort of building upon it and expanding the base of that by change of demography also, injection of the Han population, diluting the original population, the original beliefs, religion, adherence to that, understanding, scholarship, history, erasing all those traces also, or diluting those traces. Why is it that the Islamic countries of the world, and some of us, I guess, may have some understanding of this, but not very in-depth, they are not raising a voice. I don't hear Islamic countries talking about it. The Christian countries talking more about it, like you said. And we have a lot of scholars who have traveled from far off places to be here today with us, including Dr. Adityanji himself. And so many who have come from New York and other places, like Kush Bandari, who just reached here, and Ardham has traveled from Florida, and Mr. Rahul Sood, the UN official, has traveled from New York. And many of you whom I do not know have traveled from far off places. Thank you for making this effort to be here with us. We appreciate that very much. But while you all are here, and with such great intellectual strengths, it'll be worth it to go off the script later and get into a very serious in-depth discussion as to what is the future vision firstly, and how do we sort of move in that direction of preventing this thing from repeating itself again and again over and over in different countries. Thank you very much again.